In my time playing Wildgate, I have seen a number of questionable decisions made by questionable people. For example, here we're about to ram the enemy ship when they have a laser ram installed on the front, which is essentially a 30-foot lightsaber, when we have two sniper cannons and could easily have picked them off at range, especially since we had 6 times as much health as them. But what you always have to account for is that 50% of the population has an IQ below 100. In this video, I'm going to go over some pro tips I learned which made a huge difference to my win rate. Now, most of them are centred around how your team should operate, and I understand more than anyone how difficult it is to work with randoms. However, the people that play this game seem to be quite reasonable on average. It's not like CSGO, Valorant, or Rainbow Six Siege, where they will scream at you in a foreign language, often questioning the legitimacy of your birth and that of your parentage. They'll often imply that they have inappropriate intentions for members of your family. I think we all know what I'm talking about here, but anyway, let's get on to the tips to help you succeed and rule the galaxy. Pro tip 1. Always have a defender. It's essential to keep your pilot, and to a lesser extent your gunners, alive during ship fights. If you don't keep your pilot alive, your ship will end up facing the wrong direction to fire on the enemy ship with your best weapons. If you're chasing an enemy, they'll try to kill your pilot and steer you away so that they can escape and heal. If your team is the one running away, they'll try to kill your pilot and hit the brakes to let their ship catch up to yours. It's usually best to have the defender on the outside of the ship so that even if he dies, it gives your team more advanced warning, and he may even be able to have a good shot at respawning before the enemies get in. Also, if you're standing on the outside of your ship, you can use your shields for cover, which is a massive advantage. You can also spot them and shoot them as they're slowly guiding towards you through space. If your team is weak on the FPS side of things, I'd recommend using the Bastion ship, as that is the easiest to defend by far. Here we are chasing an enemy ship. We have got better weapons than them, we're faster than them, we've got a better position than them. They can't get away, we've kind of got them cold here. We've got one person flying, which is me, and 2 people on the guns. There goes our 4th person to board them for some reason. I'm sure this won't have any negative consequences, leaving us without a defender. Pro tip 2. Only board if you have a reason. You'll often see players fly off and board an enemy ship way in the distance to harass them and maybe push their reactor button a few times, but unless your team, or perhaps another weaker enemy team, can take advantage of the situation, it serves no purpose and it just leaves you a man down and makes you vulnerable to other enemy teams. Now, there are a lot of good reasons to board an enemy ship. One could be you know that they've got a really good weapon or hardpoint that you want to steal. One could be to kill the pilot to stop them from manoeuvring, or to steer the ship in a weird direction and hit the brake button to slow them down. And of course, the most important reason of all, to steal the artifact. Now, if you are going after the artifact, it's normally a 2 or a 3 man job depending on the type of ship you're against, and you're going to want to make a lot of extra entryways by blowing up windows and secured doors, and you're going to want to attack from different directions as well. Pro tip 3. Size up the enemy ship. It's important to look at what weapons and health your enemy has, and then decide how you're going to fight them. For example, that monstrosity in front of me has 3 laser rams and a plasma beam. That's the sort of thing you're going to want to fight at a distance and not move directly towards, as we are here. Pro tip 4. Weapon placement. Now, you might think that installing 2 plasma beams on the front of your ship is a really good idea, as they have great DPS. But what if the enemy team has a faster ship and just flies away out of the 100-meter range and shoots you with literally any other weapon? Even if you were going head to head with them, they'd probably just focus fire on those beams and you'd struggle to keep them operational anyway. Also, your ship would likely have lost a lot of health by the time you get in range to hit them with those beams as well. It's usually best to start with 2 long range weapons on the front of the ship, but remember you can move weapons around at any time, though it is a bit of a pain in equipping them and moving them around, especially if the pilot doesn't know or understand what you're doing. It's also important for the pilot to know where the weapons are placed. Pro tip 5. Ship positioning. You need to position your ship so that you're fighting at a range which suits your weapons best and makes it difficult for them to shoot back at you. It's easy to find what the enemy ship has by scouting them out using a probe, so you should usually know way in advance, though they might be sneaky and keep weapons and laser rams unequipped and hidden inside the ship. Once you're in a good position, you need to maintain that distance. A lot of people seem to want to drive the ships as close as possible by default, and don't realise that ships can brake and reverse. Now, I know the ship I'm following has a plasma beam on the back, so I need to stay out of its 100 metre range, which is very easy to do. The enemy team has also put a grav cannon on the back, which is a good idea on their part because anything it hits gets pushed back, making it easier for them to escape. But their ship is too slow, so they can't really get away. I'm keeping the ship aligned so that the 2 gunners can both get good shots in at the enemy ship. You should also note how fast the enemy ship's health is dropping. You don't need to have a fancy super weapon to kill ships in this game. Having a good position and approaching the right way is usually a lot more important than the weapons you've got. Pro tip 6. Target the enemy weapons first. It doesn't matter what weapons the enemy team has if they can't stay in operation. If you take their weapons down first, it makes it easy for you to keep at least one of their weapons down consistently, giving you a massive damage dealing advantage. It also lets you keep their pilot down, which can lead to things spiralling in your favour. If the enemy team is flying away from you and you're chasing them, it's also a good idea to target their engines to slow them down, but even in this situation you usually need to keep their rear weapons down, as they'll often focus on your pilot and breaking the glass, making it easy for them to board and disrupt your ability to chase them. If they are running away from you and not firing back, try to break as much stuff as possible, cause as many fires as possible. If you keep the windows and doors broken, that'll let people board them easy, but it'll also cause some suffocation issues eventually for the characters that need oxygen. If there are 10 or more fires going on the ship at once, I believe that's the point at which the ship starts to take damage due to fire, so they do need to repair a lot of this stuff. Also, some weapons such as the thermal cannon and the sniper thing are quite good at killing players as well, even inside the ship sometimes. Pro tip 7. Avoid 3 and 4 way fights. If you're fighting an enemy ship and another one gets involved, you usually need to run away or both ships will get vultured. Now obviously if it's at the end of the round you can't really avoid this. If you're the vulture, it's important not to just dive in because that makes you vulnerable to a 4th or 5th ship getting involved, or maybe the original ships will set aside their differences and focus on you. It's best to pick away at them from a distance. If one ship has become a monster, then only shoot that one, especially if it's a bastion carrying the artifact, as you'll need to face it eventually. Anyway, that's the end of the tips for now. I'll do more equipment based ones later on once I get the footage. Wildgate is coming out on PC as well as PlayStation and Xbox. I intend to follow Wildgate closely, so you may want to consider liking and or subscribing. I will live stream it eventually in Elrond's name. Good day, everyone.